In the quaint town of Willow Creek, nestled between lush forests and serene hills, the air was always filled with the sounds of nature and the laughter of children. Among these children was young Emily, a bright-eyed girl with an endless imagination. Emily's best friend was her imaginary companion, Mr. Whispers, a tall, shadowy figure with a gentle voice that only she could hear. As Emily's 7th birthday approached, strange occurrences began to unfold in the Harrison household. It started with faint whispers in the dead of night, almost inaudible, yet distinct enough to wake Emily's parents, who dismissed them as the creaks and groans of their old house. However, Emily knew these whispers were not just ordinary sounds, they were the words of Mr. Whispers, speaking to her from the shadows. One chilly evening, Emily's mother, Sarah, noticed something unsettling. All the family pictures in the house had been turned face down. When questioned, Emily calmly explained that Mr. Whispers didn't like being watched. Sarah, though slightly unnerved, chalked it up to her daughter's active imagination. But deep down, she felt an inexplicable sense of dread. The real terror began on the night of Emily's birthday. As the family gathered around the cake, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the room into darkness. A cold breeze swept through, despite all the windows being shut. In the flickering candlelight, Sarah saw a tall, shadowy figure standing behind Emily, its hand resting on her shoulder. Frozen in fear, she could only watch as the figure slowly faded away. When the lights came back on, after that night, Emily's behavior changed. She became withdrawn, spending hours talking to her unseen friend in hushed tones. Toys and objects around the house would be found broken or misplaced, and Emily always had the same explanation: Mr. Whispers was upset. The sound of soft, eerie whispers became a constant presence in the house, sending chills down the spines of Emily's parents. One rainy afternoon, as thunder rumbled in the distance, Emily's father, David, decided to confront whatever was tormenting his family. He entered Emily's room, where she was sitting in the corner, speaking in a low voice. As he approached, the temperature in the room dropped sharply, and he felt an invisible force push him back. Emily turned to him, her eyes devoid of emotion, and whispered, "Mr. Whispers says you shouldn't be here." That night, the Harrisons decided to seek help. They called a local priest, hoping for a blessing or an exorcism. But as the priest stepped into Emily's room, the house shook violently, windows shattered, and an inhuman screech echoed through the halls. The terrified priest fled, unable to help the desperate family. As days turned into weeks, the Harrisons lived in a state of constant fear and confusion. Objects would levitate and fly across rooms, doors would slam shut on their own, and the sound of whispers grew louder and more menacing. Emily became a shell of her former self, often found talking to empty spaces, her eyes reflecting a chilling blankness. In a final attempt to save their daughter, the Harrisons called a renowned paranormal investigator. Armed with equipment and a team of experts, the investigator set up cameras and recording devices throughout the house. That night, as they monitored from their van, they witnessed something horrifying. The cameras captured the clear image of a tall, dark figure with elongated limbs, hovering over Emily as she slept. The equipment went haywire, and a piercing shriek emitted from the speakers before everything went dead. The next morning, the investigators presented their findings to the Harrisons, advising them to leave the house immediately. But it was too late. During the night, Emily had disappeared, leaving behind only a note in her childish handwriting: "Mr. Whispers has taken me to a place where we can always be together." The house on the edge of Willow Creek stands empty to this day, a solemn reminder of the unseen terror that once dwelled within. Locals whisper about the night the Harrisons fled, leaving behind the mystery of their daughter's disappearance and the haunting presence of her unseen friend. Emily was never found, and the chilling whispers of Mr. Whispers are said to still echo through the abandoned rooms, a ghostly testament to the unseen friend who became a terrifying reality. The disappearance of Emily Harrison became a legend in Willow Creek, a tale whispered among the townsfolk with both curiosity and fear. Years passed, yet the old Harrison house remained untouched, its windows boarded up, a silent sentinel holding its dark secrets that eye in the town. Life moved on, but the mystery of Emily and Mr. Whispers was never forgotten. Parents used the story to caution their children about the dangers of straying too far into the realms of imagination. But for some, the story was more than a cautionary tale, it was an unsolved enigma that beckoned the brave and the curious. Among these was a young investigative journalist, named Clara, who had grown up hearing the tale of Emily Harrison. Obsessed with the supernatural, Clara saw the story of the unseen friend as her chance to make a name for herself. Armed with modern technology and a determined spirit, she set out to uncover the truth about the Harrison house and the mysterious Mr. Whispers. Clara began her investigation by digging into the town's archives, unearthing old newspaper articles, police reports, and interviews with the Harrison family. The more she learned, the more she felt drawn to the house, as if something unseen was calling her. Finally, she decided to spend a night in the abandoned Harrison home, hoping to experience firsthand the phenomena reported years ago. As night fell, Clara set up her equipment in Emily's old room. Cameras, audio recorders, and motion sensors filled the space, all aimed at capturing any sign of the paranormal. For hours, nothing happened, and Clara began to feel foolish, wondering if the stories were just that, stories. But as the clock struck midnight, the air grew cold, and a sense of unease filled the room. Clara's equipment started to malfunction, the screens flickering with static. Then, out of the silence, came a whisper, soft yet clear, "Why are you here?" Frozen in fear, Clara realized she was not alone. A tall, shadowy figure materialized in the corner of the room, its form blurry and shifting. Clara, mustering all her courage, asked, "Are you Mr. Whispers? What happened to Emily?" The figure remained silent for a moment before moving closer, its presence overwhelming the room. In a voice that was both terrifying and sad, it spoke, "Emily was my friend. She understood me. But they feared me, they tried to banish me. So, I took her away, to a place where we could be together forever." Clara felt a chill run down her spine as she understood the implication of those words. She asked, "Where is she now? Can she be brought back?" The figure seemed to waver, its form becoming less distinct. "She is with me, where no one can harm us. She is happy," it whispered before fading away, leaving Clara alone in the dark, the room suddenly feeling empty and cold. The next day, Clara left the house, her mind racing with what she had experienced. She knew she had encountered something beyond the realm of normal understanding, something that blurred the lines between imagination and reality. Her recordings were mostly static, but the whispers were there, faint yet unmistakable. Clara published her findings, reigniting interest in the story of Emily Harrison and Mr. Whispers. People began to view the old house with a new sense of dread and wonder, speculating about the nature of the unseen friend and the fate of the little girl who had vanished so many years ago. The house on the edge of Willow Creek still stands, its secrets locked within its decaying walls. And sometimes, on quiet nights, when the wind whispers through the trees, those listening closely might hear the faint, eerie sound of a child's laughter and a gentle, ghostly voice, forever entwined in the legend of the unseen friend.